Hello and welcome. We've got this Selmer 100-watt bass head, and I've had this a while. It runs okay, but it gets a little hot, and I thought I'd just do an assessment of this, mainly just to see what parts that I'll need for it. So it's a 2-channel amp. The channels look pretty much identical. Channel 1, channel 2, got a high and a low, usual thing. Volume, treble, bass, presence, and the same on this side, exactly the same. 2N3 773s we've got in there. So yeah, we'll get a good 100 watts out of it if we get it running properly. Corner's a little bit bent on here where it comes out of the case. The case is actually here. I'll just show you what the case looks like because I've already taken it out. So that's the case, it goes in there. So we need to straighten out that corner there. Perhaps just get a bit of black paint, just touch that back in. So this amp's from the 70s. I'm guessing it's from around 73ish, somewhere around that era, I would have thought. Hopefully we might find a bit of a date in the components somewhere. I've had this amp plugged in before, and as I say, it does run, but it gets hot. So let's plug it in. Right, so that's plugged in. No capacitance, hum or anything like that. See what it's drawing off the mains. So I've not got it on the current meter, so just checking these transistors. Parts need a bit of a clean, but that, yeah, you'd expect that on an amp this age. So these transistors are already beginning to get warm, and they really shouldn't when they're idling. They're not. So when you've got an amplifier like this, it's not highly collectible, it's not massively valuable. So you're kind of looking at it, you know, how far do you go with this amp? It runs very quiet, so the capacitors seem okay. Yeah, that's starting to get warm, but again, it's still lukewarm. You know, do you do a full recap on this amp? Partial recap. So just looking at this now, from what I can see, we could do with a pointer. What has happened to those? So looking at this really, if you know, just from what I can see now, just a quick assessment. These capacitors could do with changing. Starting to look a bit tired and don't look particularly great on the ends. So those could do, and there's a smaller one there, so that could be replaced. There's a few small ones on the preamp there. And a mustard cap there, that'll probably be alright. Another electrolytic type capacitor there. So they could do a replacing, not a lot really, and then checking through the through the resistors, just to see if any of them are out of tolerance. Yeah. So they are getting a bit warm. Now these two presets down here I think are for the bias for them. So someone could have had a bit of a tweak at those at one time. Or maybe there's just some components out of spec that are combined with those, with the bias, and maybe that's what's causing it. That one's getting quite hot now. But it runs pretty well. Very quiet. So let's put the signal generator through it and see if it generates. So I'm just going to, I'm just going to tidy this up really, and like I say, I'm just going to, just depending on what's happening with these transistors, I might change these driver transistors. Maybe they're getting a bit leaky, a bit tired. I don't know. I have to say I'm not a massive transistor person, so I've not had a massive amount of experience. Well, not for many years anyway. I did years, about 20 odd years ago, I used to work with a guy and do a lot of this stuff, but tends to stick to the valves, the tubes. So occasionally get these on my bench. I have to scratch my head a bit and remember. Seems like that bass is wired up back to front. Still have to check that on Bully's prize board. Everything seems to work. Well, now they're really getting hot. Now there's some signal through it. Yep. That one more so. Let's try the other channel. It appears those bass controls are wired back to front. I don't know whether that's just where they're reacting with this signal generator. Well, they're not too hot to touch yet, but this heatsink is also, you know, they are dissipating a lot of heat. Those transistors, all of the back of this heatsink here, the back of the panel there, where it's dissipating the heat through this heatsink, is really warm. So let's plug it into the current meter and just see what it's drawing. We'll just take that out of there and plug it into there, like so. There we go. We should get a reading. It's drawing 340 milliamps. Which is not massive, is it? You know, if this had a serious fault, you'd see that would be flying up there. So yes, that does seem to be getting rather hot. I mean, it's not been on long. What? It's been on 10 minutes, if that. 6-7 minutes. Ah, pink. Switch off. Oh dear. So there we go. And pink's come through the cat flap and immediately jumped on the bench. And all the electric has been immediately turned off. And probably just as well. We're busy, Pink. What do you want? Well, that's put pay to that test, hasn't it, madam? Yes. Oh well. Right, I've got this board out, and you can see this amp has been worked on. There's some pretty intensive work going on here, and I've zoomed in really close on this. Selmer B305 it says on this board, and if we look over here, and if I can spot it now because I'm looking down the camera, and I'm just gonna, you probably already spotted it, but if you look here and here, the trace, that whatever is in there has got no traces to it. So what is that? So was there not supposed to be anything there, or has something been removed from there? I don't know. No idea. Same on that side. It looks like something's been there at one time, but the trace has been burnt off. So that's the first thing. Now somewhere else on here, you can see somebody's had a right out go at this, and of course they've not cleaned off the flux. You can see there's a capacitor there. Don't know if that's been added or what. There was no point running it up again after we'd run it, because Pink's on the bench and I think she's here to stay, and it was running hot anyway, so there's no point just keep running it. So I thought I'd just get this board out and have a look. It came out really quickly. It took a couple of minutes to get this out. So yes, so I'm just looking, yeah, that, just there, look. So if we look at that trace there, is that joined together somehow? I don't know what's going on there. You can see, let's put that in there. I don't know. I don't like the look of it though. In fact, I don't like the look of this board, full stop. This trace is missing. They've been burnt off, or they've just been frail. Something going on there with that screw. That goes to the heat sink. So it looks like these wires have been put on, because that must have been grounded to that at one time, and now they've grounded it. Sorry, I've got that on the camera. Look here. So if you look at this screw here, you can see that there's some trace missing there. The screw's rather making it go out of focus. And you can see around the edge of that there must have been some trace there, and that goes to ground because it's through the heatsink. And then they've moved this, they've put this wire over here, and then that's wired to ground. So that, and the same's been done on there as well, but yeah, and again that trace, look, there is going to that part there. So not sure what was there, but whatever was there, it isn't there now. So what's these two? They're the transistors. I think I know what those are now. It looks like there's another model, and there's you can have 4 transistors in as opposed to 2. Yeah, I can see that. Now they're lined up as well. And if we look on the board on the front there, on the top side, yes, you can see. Well done, Pink. You can see that and that, those there. So yes, but yeah, that's someone's had a righto go at that, haven't they? And you can see very sloppy. That's going to take a bit of sorting out. And of course, it's the same old problem with these. When they do this, you know, you don't know if they've wired something up wrong or what they've done. That is the thing there that's bothering me more. Yes, so we clean that out there. So I reckon, or is that? Yeah, so I reckon that was touching there. I just want to clean that out, and I don't quite know whether that was conductive, but that's cleaned that off. So now I've done that, I may just put this back in and just see how it runs now. But I am going to change some of these capacitors and things. Now I've had this heatsink off this transistor, and if I just to see what it was. But unfortunately, if the writing was on the top, and it looks like it probably was, you can see it's all corroded and we can't see what that transistor is. Now if we look, I've looked on these capacitors, and if we look in there, you can see, and you might, if I just turn it out the shade of the light, you can see it's 08 1974, that is. So this amp was made 1974, August 74 on that. There's some capacitors that I've also got, and you can see another one that now I put that there, you can see that that's I think that's 574, so that'll be May 74. So this amp will obviously made around August 1974. It could be later, could be September, could even be the end of 74. So I was about right there, 70, when I said 1973-ish, went far out. So we're going to change these capacitors and just check through this board. As I say, this amp's had a going over, and whoever's done it has been, you know, there's clear evidence there that either the soldering iron was too hot or whatever, but yeah, they've made a bit of a mess. So that's that. These transistors are, well, you can see those there. We're struggling to get the angle right on them to see them, because they're getting the light, because this is covering the light off, that's why. But that's tip 29 and tip 30. They are TIP 29, well 30C and 29C. So I'd imagine they're the driver transistors, but again, I'm not a massive expert on transistors. The smaller ones, most of the smaller ones, there's BC182s, with exception that one's BC212. But all the transistors, they seem in order. So yes, conundrums with this one. The big capacitors here, if we just steadily hone in, you can see 4,700, and I've loosened this off because we needed to see what was in it, and you can see that's 100 volts there. So 4,700 to 100, and that's 2,500 at, I can't remember what that one was now, it eludes me, might be 40 volts ish, something like that. So yes, you can see, just zoom down one, there we go. So that's a real good look at that board, and you can see that yeah, the old Billy Bodger's been at it. It's strange with these transistors. I wonder if sometime they were in there, but I know two of those 2N 3773s will give you about 100 to 120 watts. So I'm guessing there wasn't two transistors in those places, but as to why this is all then burnt away, you can't, well, who knows. I may just plug it back in now and test it again. Now I've cleaned that, what looked like there was a bridged, yeah, that looked like that was bridged on that trace. I don't know, it probably won't make any difference though. So that'll do it for the assessment of this Selmer Bass 100. And you all take care, and I'll see you all in a future video. Bye bye for now.